Hello, and welcome to the Footy Podcast. To benefit Here's Help. Here's Help is a nonprofit comprehensive rehabilitation and educational agency that's been providing treatment services in South Florida since 1968. For more information on Here's Help or Footy's podcast, you can contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. Now, here's Footy.
Welcome. I'm Footy. This is Ron Hersey. We are here every Tuesday. Is there a reason we do this podcast so early?
Well, yes.
What would that be?
That I have a job, and it's in West Palm Beach.
You still have a job?
I'm as surprised as you are. I just had this conversation. I just spoke to a class at University of Central Florida last week in a Zoom call, and one of the questions was, what surprises you most about your career? And I said, the fact that I still have it. You know, so many people that I worked with over the years and worked in this business for 20, 30, 40 years are now, like, one's a flight attendant, one sells boats. So to think that I'm still cranking it out is quite a shock.
One runs a big school.
One runs,
Here's
recovery,
Help.
Yeah. So that's why I have to be there around 10:30 or 11.
Yeah,
And I appreciate you coming in early. It's good for you.
Well, that's a matter.
Come on, you used to get up at what, 5? You work at 5?
I'm at the stage of life where I don't have to do that anymore. Okay.
Well, I appreciate you coming in.
I don't do it just for the pain.
The pain.
I can get up at 10 o'clock and go to work. You know.
I know.
I could stay in bed all day.
That would not be very productive.
Who cares? I don't. Anyway.
Well, what are you doing here?
What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm working.
There you go.
So there's been some. I'm Footy, by the way. This is Ron Hersey.
Hello again.
And thank you for joining us and listening to us, and all the folks that follow our show and contact us. And if you want to get a hold of us, it's very simple. Just, go to our webpage and enter your whatever it is that you're interested in, or if you'd like to be on the show, or you'd like to visit Here's Help. We had member of the Miami Dolphins here yesterday. He spoke to the guys.
Kids must have loved that.
Yeah, he's a good guy too. And but
by the way, the website here'shelpinc.com.
Damn it, I forgot that again.
There you go.
But we are facing today with a heavy heart. Legendary coach Howard Schnellenberger, who launched the University of Miami Hurricanes dynasty and a lot of other things, he passed away. He was 87 years old. I love that guy. He was a guy's guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever uttered a word to him. When I covered the Dolphins and the Hurricanes, I never spoke. I always thought it would be stupid for me to speak because what do I know?
Well, when you're questioning somebody with the credentials of a Don Shula or a Howard Schnellenberger.
Yeah, I never questioned them.
Well, but that's what that's what a lot of sports guys have to do. They got to ask.
Well, let me tell you something.
They don't have to put them on the spot. I'm sure they enjoyed that.
Let me tell you something.
Sometimes you have to ask after a loss. You got to ask the tough questions.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
When I covered the Dolphins and the Hurricanes, I supported the team.
Mm-hmm.
Good times or bad. I supported the coach. I supported the players. Who would I be to go in there and start giving them tips or asking them questions? Okay. You think I was... Yeah, I'll tell you Don Shula. He never talked to me. You would have thought I was a dead person walking around, or,
Mm-hmm.
He never talked. The week he retired, they had a little gathering up in Broward, and they invited me. So I go in and I sit down. Don Strock's there, Dan Marino's there, all the guys are there. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I get this horrible pain in my neck and the top of my head, and it's Coach Shula. He's got me in a headlock, and he's giving me a noogie. And I never even thought he knew I lived.
Right.
I was dead or alive. He knew.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I didn't open my mouth and say stupid things, which, I'll tell you something about sports guys. They're kind of, it's not so bad as it used to be, but they're kind of, it's like they're lost. They really, how can I explain it?
Well, they're extremely competitive. I mean, they have to be extremely competitive, and with that comes a certain amount of focus. So
which I had none of.
And me either. But I'm sure they have to completely focus on what they're doing, and so they don't have time
They're
for
a bunch of
the
jerks.
real
They
world.
don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
And they don't even know who they're talking to half the time.
Bigger than you are.
What do you mean
They
bigger?
could beat you up if they hear you say that.
They what?
A bunch of jerks?
Yeah, what about them?
Okay.
Yeah, what are they doing? Most of them, there are some guys, Hyde, Segreto, there's the guys that are good,
Right.
somewhat legitimate at the job.
Oh, you're talking about the press now, not the athletes.
Yeah. Wow, what are you, crazy?
I was going to say, boy,
Yeah, I
footy's
was
really
wondering,
picking a hill to
I
die
could see
on.
me getting beat up by Tony Segreto.
I'd pay to see that.
No. Let me say this.
All right.
I wasn't talking about the team.
Oh, you're talking about the
I supported the
journalists.
team.
Yeah.
Good, bad, rain, sun, whatever.
Right.
Never opened my mouth to a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Never opened my mouth to Don Shula or Howard Schnellenberger or whoever it happened to be. I backed them up. Pat Riley, to this day, I sit at attention when I'm near him. Okay? But he's good. He knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
But you have these unemployable and unemployed for the most part, beat people. I don't know what you really call them. Some of them are good. Some know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them do. Like Hyde's good. But some of the others, I'll tell you a story. How's this? So, Dan and I hit it off right off the bat because we had our goals were very similar and our direction was very similar. We were building his help, he was building the Dan Marino, and we both helped each other. I don't know if you noticed, but our scoreboard is the Dan Marino scoreboard.
Uh-huh.
There's more pictures around here of him than me, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And we did 1 million events. Some worked, some didn't work, but in the end, he completed his goal, along with Mary and everyone else, and they created an agency and a school, and they did good for people, and they were a pure effort.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the same thing. Radio, I was working at Tears Help, I was doing, but we put it all together. We made it work. You and I are sitting in one of our buildings.
Mm-hmm. One of several.
Yeah, that's, and all around here,
Mm-hmm.
there are people that are changing their lives and going to school and getting training and getting a new start in life. And that's what we set out to do. And Dan and I were in very parallel worlds. And, if you noticed, the Bubbles and Bones and Wingdings and all of that stuff, who was standing in the center of the stage?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't looking for me, I can
Right.
tell you that. And Dan, and we supported him and still do, and he still supports us. But we had a lot of people that were very, very helpful. But elements of the media, and in this case we'll say the sports media, they're looking for trouble.
Sure.
They're looking to demean whatever effort you're making because they basically don't do very much. So anyway, I'm at Dolphin Camp one day, and I was allowed in. This is the old one, over at St. Thomas, or in the area of St. Thomas, and I was allowed into the locker room because Bobby Monaco was the
The equipment manager.
So
What a
I
character.
had we brought Cheech and Chong down there, and Coach Shula didn't know who they were. We did a lot of things, and Bobby got the joke. He was good with it. And Dan was very good with it, but I kept my mouth shut. Who the hell am I to be telling Don Shula and Coach Schnellenberger what they should do or not do?
Right.
I mean, I saw that as the most ridiculous. If you thought that, you ought to be a complete idiot. And there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
It was good and it was bad, like in everything else. But anyway, Dan and I are coming out of the old locker room over there. And there was a sidewalk to go to the field. But then there was the parking lot. There was the asphalt. And they had to stay on the asphalt. They weren't allowed to get off the asphalt. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
No, so they kept distance.
Oh.
So the guys could get on the sidewalk and get to the field.
The reporters
The
had
reporters,
to be.
yeah.
Gotcha.
They
I got
it was to keep some kind of sanity going.
Right.
And so Dan and I walk out, and on the way out he goes, "Come on, I'll throw you the ball." So I said to myself, "Oh God, please God, okay." He doesn't have any concept of how hard he throws the ball.
No.
Okay, professional football players know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know
So
from
anyway.
experience. Not from Dan, but I almost had my hands taken off in Atlanta one time.
Yeah. So we're walking, and he said, "Come on, we'll throw the ball." And we're walking out, and a certain sports guy named Hank Goldberg, I don't want to say any names,
The hammer.
he goes, "Hey, how come he gets to go?" And I didn't say a word to him.
Mm-hmm.
I was with Dan. We were going on the field.
Mhm.
Dan stops. You do not want to be at the end of what Dan stops.
Mm-hmm.
He stops, and he turns around. And he has a look that he's a soft guy, he's a gray guy, but if you push that button,
Mm-hmm.
okay, good luck to you. Well, that's what I said to myself. Good luck, Hammer. Okay. So Dan turns around, walks back. I can't repeat what he said because we're on the air.
Well, you could. We're
Yeah.
actually on a podcast.
But still, I don't
Yeah.
want to be on the air kind of cursing now. What am I going to do?
Right.
And so Dan gave him a piece of his
Right.
mind. And
Put him in his place.
Yeah, put in his place, and we moved on. But there were a lot of guys. I don't want to turn this into that, but Hyde again. They were great sports guys, and a couple of them are dead.
Yeah.
Passed on.
Speaking of that,
Yeah, let's get back to Howard Schnellenberger, legendary coach. I love this guy.
yeah.
He was a guy's guy, boy. You knew. So I'm at Tony Segreto. Tony used to do an event. I don't know if he still does it. Anyway, at Nova.
Uh-huh.
And it's really good. It's like a little Italian festival. And Anthony from Anthony's Runway, they come. They all make kind of different meals, and people eat them, and you walk around. It's really nice. It's a lot of fun. And Tony, he's MCs it, and he does a great job, and they raise money.
He does a lot for Nova.
Yeah. So, and I wonder if this is, now that I think about it, I wonder if they're still doing it and they're just not inviting me. So anyway, Leslie Visser goes. It's the crowd.
She's the best.
So, yeah, she's unbelievable and smart.
Yeah.
So let's get back to Howard. I mean, Howard Schnellenberger. So I'm at this event, and Howard's there. And I covered Howard at the University of Miami. I covered him wherever he was. And he appreciated the fact that I never asked a question. I never made a judgment. I just reported, in a positive way what had taken place or whatever. And I never felt that I was the critique of, what am I going to tell Don Shula about football?
Right. Or Howard Schnellenberger.
What are guys going to tell Howard
Right.
Schnellenberger? What are they going to, Dan Maria, keep your mouth shut.
Right.
Okay? I used to stand outside the locker room at halftime because Don Strock, he used to, I don't know why, but he used to stand out there.
We had nothing to do
Well,
with Dan around.
well, he had plenty to do.
Yeah,
But
I'm kidding.
I used to go, if he was at halftime, I would go down there and just hang around with him. And not to get information, not to talk about the game,
Right.
but just
Say hi.
hang out.
Yeah.
Really, that's what we were doing. So I'm at this thing with Tony, and Tony, by the way, he's a good guy.
He's the greatest.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Forget everything else. And he's probably, I hear him on the air, and he's in like New Hampshire or somewhere.
He has a place, I think, in Connecticut. He has like
Is it Connecticut?
I think so.
I think it's further up there.
Could be, but I know it's up in that area. Well, tell us the Howard Schnellenberger story.
So anyway, Howard, he was there one night, and hey, Howard, how's it going? Hello, Woody. He used to call me Woody. Hello, Woody. How are you? And Woody, good to see you. Woody, he just had a way that was so, so football coach.
Yeah.
That he was.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're leaving that event one year, and I'm walking out. Nova, you got to walk across a couple of areas to get to the parking.
Nova has a bunch of grassy areas.
Yeah, well, we were going to the parking. Mm. So it was me, Howard, and somebody I can't really name at this time. Mm-hmm. So we're walking towards the garage. And Howard was not exactly well, he could speak when he had to speak. He knew what to say, and he knew what to do. He was some guy.
He didn't waste words, let's put it that way.
No. He didn't waste anything. So anyway, as we get to the parking garage, it has different levels. Mm-hmm. Howard stops, and he just looks at me, and I'm like, what?
What'd I do?
Yeah, what'd I do? He leads me to the answer to my question. The person that was with us, he wants them to walk ahead. Okay. So we stopped, and I told the person to keep walking. I'll meet you at the car. Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't that bizarre. Mm-hmm. But Howard wanted to talk.
Oh.
And Howard was really big on talking.
Yeah.
But he trusted old Woody. So
Woody.
Anyway, so I can never reveal to you what he told me.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the point. But and I will never ever tell you what he told me. And he was right what he told me. Just if you want to know about that. But he told me and told me to keep it to myself, and then he left. And now he passed away.
Well, was it something about his success or how he was so successful, or
none of you guys damn business?
So much for not cursing on the air.
It was between me. It was between me and Howard. Howard wanted to share something with me, and he wanted to know something that I knew.
Oh, okay.
And he waited, and I did what I
had to do.
Yeah, I did what I had to do.
Well, I was told, I've heard this story from several people, and maybe you can kind of flesh it out, that when
Wait to tell you how many times Dan Marino got it.
Right? When a college football coach goes and talks to a possible athlete to join his college team.
Well, I wouldn't be that.
Apparently a coach is only allowed one visit. You can't just keep going back to someone you can't keep bothering them to enroll in your school. And we all know that Howard built probably one of the greatest football teams of all time by just going to local schools here in Miami.
Yeah, Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade. Yeah.
And
Those are all
so,
good.
and
Smart.
and he was never anywhere without that pipe. He always had that
Yeah,
pipe.
that pipe, yeah.
And so someone told me that what he would do was he would go to some kid's house, sit down on
And
the couch,
forget the pipe.
and talk to the kids and talk to the parent. And he would, while they were talking, he'd shove his pipe down between the cushions in the couch.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days later, he'd call and say, "I left my pipe. I need to come by and pick it up." But one of my memories of Howard was they had won the championship, and they had decided to have a big victory celebration at the James L. Knight Center, the cavernous James L. Knight Center. And so the radio station sends, Tony Novia sends me and Al Chio the Hitman, down to the James L. Knight Center to help whip
Al Chio, there's a real good sports reporter.
Sorry, Al.
We're not playing checkers, Al.
They sent us down there to whip the crowd into a frenzy, which was completely unnecessary because by the time we got there, they were completely out of their minds. The Tubes, remember She's a Beauty, the group The Tubes was going to perform. Remember Men Without Hats.
I wasn't a big fan of the
Tubes were great, man. Tubes were great. Then Men Without Hats was the opening act. Remember the safety dance. So we show up, we go backstage, we find somebody, some student, college student who looks like he might be the stage manager, and we introduce ourselves as being from Y100, and we're there to speak to the crowd. And he's like, "Okay, we'll let you know." So several other people came out and made speeches, and the crowd was just completely off the chain. And we're like, "Do we go on now?" And the kid's like, no, not yet, not yet. And, "Do we go on now?" No, not yet, no yet. So some guy comes out and makes his pitch, and we're like, "Okay, do we go on now?" He goes, "No." And so we're just kind of standing around, and all of a sudden Howard just walks out on the stage.
Yeah.
No introduction, no here's the coach. He just, and
He doesn't even introduce himself.
no, he just kind of wandered out and just stood in front of the mic, and I thought the place was going to collapse.
Yeah.
They went wild,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't let him talk.
Well,
They
here's
just-
why. Legendary football coach Howard Schnellenberger, who led the Miami Hurricanes to their first national championship and was FAU's inaugural coach and assistant on the Miami Dolphins' 1972 undefeated team.
Yeah.
He died Saturday at age 87. How's that for a resume? Okay.
Right.
But he was a good guy. He was, Coach Shula was that way too. He would always look like he was business and everything. But if I would see him up at the golf course at Miami Lakes, he used to walk the dog with us. Going. They were good guys.
Sure.
They were men's men,
Mm-hmm.
They weren't wearing diapers. I can tell you that.
Well, the argument could be made, that you can't have the success that they had by being a jerk. I mean, you gotta have something else other than competitiveness to succeed.
Yeah.
You gotta have some compassion, and I think that's lacking.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
you also have to. You make a good point because people think it's me, coach, you, dog.
Do what I
player.
say. Yeah.
It's really not like that. It at least in my era, it goes back 40 years almost. But anyway, it's you all get together and you come up with a plan, and everybody has to play a role. Now they may correct somebody, but it's not like like Don Shula's. I'm Don Shula, you're nobody. It's not like that. It's I'm Don Shula and you're Joe, and we got to win this game. And that's more like what they do. And Coach Shula, he's another one. But him and Howard were big buddies. I mean,
Well, they had a lot in common.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you're not going to see a guy like this again.
No.
Like either one of them.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the Dolphins have had a tough time finding that guy ever since Don left. They've never really found, and God, I think the biggest disaster, you talk about somebody who didn't have any compassion for players. I think Tuna was the one that.
Who?
All I know is Tuna. Who the hell was he?
Oh, the Tuna.
What's his name?
I forget.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There was my point. Remember, he was the one that moved into an office and didn't bring anything with him. There was nothing in his office but the desk and the chair, and he seldom showed up, and he wouldn't call players.
He was with the Jets.
Yeah, he may have been. I mean, I'm not that big of a sports guy, but I just remember his reign of terror at the Dolphins. It was not successful. He was hardly ever there, and he would never refer to the players by name. He would always refer to them by their numbers. So he didn't exactly endear himself. He didn't have that compassion that coaches like Shula. He didn't have the success that coaches like Shula and Howard did.
I must have missed that.
You were around.
Yeah, but
what was his name?
Are you talking about what's his name from the Jets?
Yeah, what's his name? Somebody help us out.
No.
When you think about it, between Pat Riley and Don Shula and Howard Schnellenberger, South Florida's really been blessed with some great coaches, and you don't often find an area, a town or a market or a region that has sports teams that somehow manage to find such incredible leaders.
Yeah.
And he's still at it, man.
You know, I go to the game once a year with Pat and Chris, and we go in the back room. They have like a little suite and food and everything. And he is a smart guy. You want to keep your mouth shut when you're on that guy, because you might say something stupid. And he really is a nice guy, and he means well, and he does a good job. And Chris is the world's greatest person. I mean, she's just nice all the way through.
They've been real supportive.
They're good. Yeah, they're really.
Of help over the years too.
Yeah, they're very good people.
Yeah. Well, again, see, there's that compassion. You know, you can't just be hard nosed. Apparently, you've got to have something else going on there too. You know.
Yeah. Well, let's see what Greg Cody has to say about it. He's in the paper. He's
about Howard.
Yeah. He delivered the Hurricanes' first national championship in 1983, of course. That would be Howard, tipping the domino that would lead to 4 more of those over the next 18 years. Schnellenberger would have been around for some of those titles that followed had he not left the Dolphins after the 83 championship to become coach of the Miami Hurricanes. He, great guy. Yeah, you know, it is not really going to see guys like that anymore.
Yeah, well,
they really don't exist.
It's a different world now too.
And Jimmy the Jackass, he's
who?
Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, wow. Well, he was a pretty good coach.
No, he wasn't.
No? He had a lot of success. No?
He had a good team and a good organization.
Okay.
That I'm not a big fan of.
Apparently not.
Yeah, he's I don't know. He's how can I explain it? It's not my business. He is what he is. But,
right.
But
did you have a run-in with?
No. I go on. But he wasn't Howard Schnellenberger.
Well,
you know,
true. Yeah.
Or Dan or any of those people. He was someone very special. And those guys were very special.
You know, we've even had a couple of pretty good baseball managers over the years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was pretty involved with, we used to, Jim Eisenreich, who was the Marlins utility player, was our quote-unquote correspondent when we were doing Mornings at Magic. And he would come in, talk to us once a week about the team and stuff, and we followed them to Atlanta for the playoffs and interviewed the team, and went all the way up to Cleveland, followed them all the way up to Cleveland for the World Series. And boy, that was a lot of fun. That was a super team. It was very funny though. You know, you got to love Wayne Huizinga. The team about halfway through the season started showing some promise, and all of a sudden all these major marquee players started showing up. You know, was it Bonds, Bobby Bonds? I think all of a sudden these guys who'd been around the league and who were, all of a sudden they just started, all of a sudden, oh, look who's joined the team now. And the team at the end of the season was even a reflection of what the team was at the beginning of the season that year. He kind of stacked the deck, but it didn't make it any less fun. And those games were a blast to go to. That was a great season.
It was a great life all the way. It reads like a sports novel when you hear the details. Right to the last page, Friday night, when Beverly Schnellenberger tucked in the bed covers for her husband of 61 years at his medical facility in Boca Raton.
Oh.
She then hugged and kissed him goodbye for another night. I love you, she said. See you in the morning. I love you too, he said.
Oh.
Howard Schnellenberger didn't wake up Saturday morning. He was 87. He was a giant among us as a founder of South Florida sports, a man who helped create our greatest football teams, offensive coordinator for the 1972 Dolphins' perfect season, coach of the University of Miami's first national championship, and his last chapter was creator of the Florida Atlantic football program. My greatest moment, he once said, in answer to my question was, they were greatest in that moment. And this is Dave Hyde's column. Dave's pretty good. You know?
Yeah.
He's not just telling you the basics. He knows what he's talking about.
He paints the picture.
Yeah,
and
he's
tells
an
the story.
excellent guy.
Yeah. No
Well,
doubt.
let's take our little break here.
We will. We're going to take a short break. We want to thank you all for watching the Footy Podcast. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Have you been introduced to Footy Sauce? Footy Sauce makes it easy to give ordinary chicken wings extraordinary flavor. Footy Wing Sauce is made with a perfect blend of herbs and spices. So what are you waiting for? Pour it on. Footy's Wing Sauce guarantees you a better taste than chicken wing every single time. When you fire up the grill, pour it on. Let Footy be your wingman. Kick your next party up a notch with Footy Sauce. Grab Footy's Wing Sauce and pour it on.
Don't forget to go to Publix and pick up your chicken wing sauce, Footy's chicken wing sauce, the best there is, and our hot sauce, which is available at most Publix also. If they don't have it, go to the manager and complain. Okay? That makes them move very fast. But they've been good partners for us for all of the years, and they're still partners. In fact, they're getting more involved with us than they were for a while there.
Well, that's awesome. We
So,
appreciate
yeah.
their support for sure.
So, and if you want to get Footy sauce, go to any Publix or most grocery stores, and they'll have it in there. If you want, I'll tell you what, our wing sauce, it doesn't separate. It's not garbage.
Right.
And our hot sauce is our hot sauce. So, do yourself a favor and get the best. Footy's, Publix.
We want to thank you folks for watching our podcast. We're getting a lot of great views, and we have several podcasts to choose from. There's a lot of hilarity and a lot of serious conversations that go on in the podcast, so check them all out. Thanks for the views. Make sure you subscribe to us, and make sure you click on the little bell there on the frame around the screen, so when we add new podcasts, we can let you know. So thanks for buying the sauce. Thanks for watching the podcast, and keep an eye out on YouTube. We'll be back with a new podcast in just a week or two.
Thank you for listening to the Footy Podcast. To benefit, here's help. For more information about the Footy Podcast or Here's Help, contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. The executive producer of the Footy Podcast is Sam Zarco, COO of Here's Help.